only vote that was taken in closed session was to move out of closed session back into open session. It was a roll call vote, unanimous. Is there consideration of vote to seal the minutes pursuant to Rhode Island General Law 4246 7C, 4246 4, and 4246 5?
So moved.
Second.
And
Any discussion?
any notes or appendages with that?
And any notes and appendages with that? Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. Action related to, next item on the agenda, closed session, item number 3. I would like to make a motion. I move that we make an offer to hire Michael St. Jean as the new Superintendent of Schools for the North Smithfield School District for a 3-year term, subject to execution of a school committee approved employment agreement, which would include mutually agreed upon terms and conditions of employment.
Second.
Is there any discussion? We have a roll call vote. Mr. Lombardi?
Aye.
Mr. Raymond?
Aye.
Mr. Cannell?
Aye.
Mr. Clifford?
Yes.
Mrs. Gillette?
Yes.
Mr. Bassett?
Yes.
Mrs. Nato? Yes. Motion carries unanimously, 7 to 0.
Congratulations to
Yeah. The next item on the agenda is the disbursement report for June 2016. I believe that's Mrs. Marcotte.
We have the disbursement report in your packet. I ask that you would approve the disbursements for the month of June at $3,917,955.66.
I'll make a motion that we accept the small tax report included as presented.
Second.
Is there any discussion?
If I just ask you a question, please. The iPads that are in there, is that part of the, that's all part of the previously approved technology spend, yes? Is that,
That was a purchase by the special ed department.
okay. So that's not part of?
Yeah.
Any other discussion or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. The next item on the agenda is the fiscal year 2017 operating and capital budget, specifically adoption of fiscal year 17 budget appropriation as determined by town council. Mrs. Marcotte?
What happens if we didn't approve that? Say what they said. So I said to council, I don't approve it.
I don't know.
I'm just throwing that out as an option. I'm not saying it
I
right or
don't
wrong.
even understand why we're taking that.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I said.
I don't think we need to.
I don't think so either.
What happens is by state law, you have 30 days to reconcile your budget to the appropriation.
Appropriation.
And if you can't reconcile it, then there's action that needs to be
Correct. I would agree with you.
So I prefer not to. I mean, I will.
Yeah, I'm with you on this one. I don't think I need to vote.
Would you rather make a motion that we reconcile it
Yeah,
by July
I like
30th?
Mike's idea.
Can we
Yes.
listen to Lisa?
What's
The
Lisa?
last budget number that you approved was the requested amount. So I know in the past they've always voted to approve the new amount.
Once you approve it, you can't move the line items, right?
Oh, you can. Oh, you can.
Bottom line.
Yeah.
Lisa, I'm just going to ask a question.
Absolutely.
We're just basically, if I understand it, we're just approving the bottom line tonight, right? We're not actually.
Correct.
That's all we're doing, the bottom line. So we're just accepting what the council has done and saying, as opposed to saying we might file some type of Kalula action, something like that. I think I'm
But
okay
you're
with that.
adopting the budget, I would think that would include the way the line items are specifically written.
Well,
I didn't know if somebody was indicating, you or John were indicating that we may need to take a look at different.
We're still gonna have to look at the line.
Yeah, but he's got, I mean, it's, the way it's worded, I vote to adopt the budget, which includes or proposes contingent upon review by the school committee's budget subcommittee and finalization of the budget to occur within 30 days. But I had the same question John had. I didn't understand why we were doing it.
Yeah, I think you just reconcile it, then you come back and say, okay, we approve it.
Yeah.
But either way,
I can tell you that I did reconcile it. I don't know if you're going to want to make any changes, but there was very few changes over the last revised request. What I did was I received the property and liability insurance invoice and the workers' comp invoice, so I adjusted those lines to the actual. I had Suzanne look at her PPS tuitions again, and she adjusted those up by about $10,000 based on the actual placements. And I moved the use of facilities for your request at the last meeting to the general fund. The only other change I made was we left $25,920, so I upped the turnover allowance to $160,920 from the $135 that it was originally, and that was it.
Yeah, but I didn't think we were even approving the line item thing tonight, like you just read. We haven't even seen that, but you're just reading it, I believe, but.
So you don't have to, I just wanted to give you
Oh,
that
okay,
information.
because I thought
Very
this,
little change.
first of all, I didn't understand why we were doing it, but secondly, I thought it was just a bottom line number that we were.
Yeah, that's what this says.
That's what we are.
If we do it at all.
It's just a bottom line number, it's the appropriation for the town, which is the big one.
You know, I think all we're doing is approving the appropriation, and frankly, if we find out, I mean, we're making this vote, if for some reason we're gonna change it, we can always move to reconsider it. You know, at the next meeting. I don't think we're locking ourselves into the budget.
I make a motion that we accept the appropriation of $21,559 as the appropriation for FY17, and the acceptance is contingent upon review by the school committee's budget subcommittee and finalization of the budget to occur within 30 days.
I have
Is there a second so we can discuss it?
Second.
you know, there is a, by the charter, it's the school committee, we have to approve this. If we make it contingent upon the budget committee's approval, the budget subcommittee, that's, I think, a delegation of authority. that we need.
No, it's the school committee's budget subcommittee.
Which is me.
Still.
It wasn't approval by us, it was review, wasn't it?
Yeah, upon review by the school committee's budget subcommittee and finalization of the budget to occur within 30 days. This is the language from the superintendent.
By the school committee.
Right,
By the
by the
school
school
committee.
committee.
Okay.
So we're just gonna figure out the line item in the next meeting.
Yeah, oh, I think, yeah,
Is it-
we're not doing the line item,
No.
it's just the bottom line.
Well, I think the subcommittee's going to.
Something we'll do the
Right.
line item.
Right.
Line
We'll
item.
make a
Bring it back and
recommendation.
make your recommendations and then we'll all vote on it.
Yeah, we'll take us.
Okay, I would.
Is there any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, so moved. The item 9, next item on the agenda is the leave
I just
of
want to make it clear, when Jim said by the school committee, I wrote that into the motion, by the school committee.
Thank you.
Yeah.
The next item on the agenda is a leave of absence request for Mrs. Minash. This item was carried over from the June 21st meeting for further consideration.
I'm going to make a motion that we approve the request for the leave of absence.
Is there a second? Motion dies for lack of a second.
Could I, before we make any motions, could I ask, I know the last time I asked for a legal opinion on what the criteria was. I don't know if Ben got that to us or
The only
I
thing I
didn't
was
call
told,
him, I guess I
Did you
didn't.
not?
all I was told was, this is a non-binding, non-agreeable item. So we have to either approve it or not approve it, but it's non-agreeable. So if we say no, they can't come back and do that.
But if I want to know what the criteria in the contract is, I want to be fair to everyone. I mean, whether it's agreeable
Well,
or not.
here's what I think. If you want to know, I know what I think.
Take them if it's
Right, I'll tell you what I
approved.
think. I think this person probably has another job and saying, I got another job, I'm gonna take that job, and if I don't like the job after a year, I can still come back to North Smithfield.
Okay, hypothetical.
That's hypothetical.
hypothetical.
But that's what I believe.
We don't know that.
We don't know
No,
that.
but I'm just saying, that's what I think is happening with that clause.
Well,
I mean,
may I ask a question?
Yes.
At the bottom of the superintendent's letter dated May 6th, it says, "Please notify me of specific reasons why this would be considered an emergency situation." Did we ever, I've never received anything else in any package or anything.
I haven't received.
So that's really what's kind of holding me off. I don't understand.
Would you like to continue it until the 5th? We can.
I prefer to get more
Tuesday.
information. I prefer to get the answer that Jim's looking for from legal. And I prefer to have an idea. I mean, I'm not asking for an in-depth history of why she's looking to do this. I mean, medical reasons, period. Or, you know what I mean, like something. Just tell me why you want it. And I think we are entitled, what I read in the contract, I mean, it has to be school committee approval, and what I read.
I thought it was told to us at the last meeting, though, that they're
I
not
wasn't at the
required.
last one,
Oh, I'm
so
sorry.
I don't know.
I thought we were told at the last meeting that it's not required that they disclose the reason for the leave. Does anybody remember hearing that? Was it just me? Thought I heard that?
This is what I mean, I think
No,
I just want
I
guidance.
thought it was as well, and
Guidance.
then I thought the next place that we went was, I think Jim asked the question about whether, you know, there's any kind of legal, I forget how you phrased it.
Criteria?
Yeah, whether there are any criteria based upon, because all we have in this letter is, in the, you know, in the notes here, is excerpts from the contract. I don't know, it seems very open to me, and I'd be surprised if something is that open.
I'm sorry, I did not realize he didn't send this legal opinion to everyone. I said, Ben, the school committee would like a legal opinion, request by a teacher, Lori Minash, for a 1-year leave of absence. I'm not sure how to clarify the request any better than the way I phrased it. Also, the committee wants clarification as to whether it is legal to ask her why she is making such a request. Here's his response, and I apologize for not sending it, I just didn't see where it went to. I discussed the matter with Steve. The contract states, tenured teachers may request unpaid leave for 1 year through the superintendent to the school committee. The school committee may grant said leave. However, said leave shall be conditioned upon the following. 1, leave shall be without pay. 2, leave shall be without benefits. 3, the teacher shall not advance on the salary scales during the leave period. Since granting leave is discretionary in nature, it is appropriate for the committee to ask the reasons for the leave. Also, the committee should seriously consider the superintendent's recommendation for formulating its decision. Ben.
I have no problem following, if that's correct, I have no problem following the superintendent's recommendation. I assume he knows much more about the situation.
Yeah, but he hasn't made one, so.
He did.
He hasn't?
He did, in the packet. In the packet, it said it was gonna be to our discretion, but at the meeting, I think he made a recommendation that we not approve it.
Yes, I think that's right.
I'll make a motion to deny the request.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any other discussion?
I'd like to at least wait until we get the answer, if we're gonna deny it, I mean, it
That's
does,
probably more the reason, that's just my,
well, we
I'm
don't
not
know.
reading, I'm just, you know,
Yeah,
because you had a sick person, you'd say that.
Right.
Yeah.
You wouldn't hide
It's
it.
not on our, I don't think it's on our side to require, like, if you were at a job and you were requesting a leave of absence, you would give some type
Yeah,
of
you wouldn't just say,
statement. I mean, you know, medical, I mean, you could be as vague as you want, but this just says,
You don't have to give reason to
please
leave.
accept my request for general leave of absence for the academic year per the contract.
I'd rather table it and get some answers.
Well, we have a motion on the
I know,
floor.
I'm just in my discussion stage.
I'm okay with denying it tonight with the understanding that, you know, we can revisit it. I mean, you know, that we can say, and instructs you if the teacher wishes to come back to us with something, or if Ben comes back with something else, you know, I'll revisit it. But
I do that.
Give her some finality, you know, almost give the teacher an answer, and then she can decide if she wants to, you know, supplement or whatever. And I'll put on the record, I will revisit the issue if something comes in, or if there's some other, you know, some other factor that comes into play that we don't have in front of us right now. Just based on what I have in front of me, I'm inclined to go to deny it.
We have a motion on the floor. Does someone
Would you
want to-
entertain amending your motion to include something to that effect?
Bill committed to motion to reconsider, which could flip the decision. But
That's
if you have a recommendation, I just want to,
I'm just thinking, I
I'll
need more
be
to go,
open to
I
listen.
need more to go by than this.
Right.
I don't want to say
So-
no and have
so I'll give you my word.
no recourse for
I'll give you my
her.
word if it comes in that she's taking care of an elderly parent or something that rises to the level of at least what I believe to be a worthy cause for a leave of absence, not an open-ended one. I would vote in favor of reconsidering, so if that helps you.
Yeah.
So,
So what was
what
your
do we do
exact
with the
motion?
motion on
Just
the
deny
floor?
the-
Motion to deny.
Deny the leave.
Without prejudice, you want me to say without prejudice so that you can refile?
Just deny leave.
That's the motion, to deny the leave?
Yes.
Is without prejudice happening here?
I don't think we need to. I mean, we've got two people out who are already saying,
Okay.
we'll commit to reconsidering, you know what I mean, if it's asked. And I'll reiterate, I will absolutely reconsider.
I will
You know,
too.
I'm very available.
So,
I think it's just,
There was a second to that motion? We need to vote on
Yeah,
that
second.
motion?
Well, So just for my clarity, is any word going to get back to her that if she gives more information, then we would reconsider? Like, I feel if we're just making a motion to deny, it's done. So how is that communication going to go back to her that if there's more information? That's my,
I think that what will happen, and Steve's not here, so I think the superintendent will send a letter to her saying, I guess, dear Ms. Marsh, the school committee board on such and such a day to, deny your request. However, the committee wanted, indicated that if you would supply more information, they would revisit the issue.
Maybe.
Maybe revisit the issue.
okay.
Does everybody have clarity about the motion we're about to vote on? Should I do a roll call vote?
Yeah, if I could just make one point, just from the school committee perspective, I understand the language in the contract and that it's vague and it's discretionary. I don't know if we all want to consider, I don't know how often this comes up. It's the first time it's come up since I've been on the school committee. But one of the things that you do as a school committee is make an employment policy. So maybe we want to put some guidelines around, if there's nothing in the contract, maybe we want to put some guidelines around what is valid for an unpaid leave. Only because, I do know, I have a family member who actually took a leave for unrelated reasons for healthcare. It was just, they had something that they wanted to do on their bucket list, and they did it. And that's great, and they were allowed to do it, that's fine. But I don't know if we allow that here. I don't know, you know what I mean? If you set forth a policy, you might be able to at least provide some kind of guideline for our school committee and future school committees here that, you set a standard for. Just a thought.
When we can ask Ben
Yeah.
what some other schools do.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to think. I don't want to not join this teacher if she has. And I also don't want to make her disclose she's got some information that shouldn't be publicly disclosed. I think
Right, exactly.
just a little more than just a little more than I want to read. I feel like okay.
Yeah, and to be clear, legally, I think from the way I read this and the way that it is at our discretion, so I think we're fine denying it, and I think it's okay to, to say, bring it back if you have a valid explanation.
All right, I'm sympathetic to it. I mean, I went back and forth.
Yeah, so am I.
I went back and forth with it.
Like I said, I have a
Let's give her
family
an
member
answer.
who used this option in their contract, and
Let's give her an answer and then.
no issues with it, but it's just a question of whether we want to set the policy.
Okay, is there any other discussion?
Yes.
I'll do a roll call
Yes.
vote. Mr. Lombardi?
Yes.
Mr. Raymond?
Yes.
Mike's taking notes.
Oh,
now.
okay.
Mr. Cannell?
The motion was to deny, correct?
Right.
Yes.
Mr. Clifford?
Yes.
Mrs. Gillette? Yes. Mr. Bassett?
Yes.
Mrs. Nato? Yes. Motion passes unanimously. The next item on the agenda is the 2017 bus routes. Mr. Clifford, backup included.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure that we didn't box ourselves in because there had been discussion about eliminating a bus, and I wanted to make sure that it was made clear by the school committee, if that's the way we all decide, to the bus company, DACO, and to Mr. Mayo, that we'd like two options for routes.
I
One
would
op-
agree with you. You know what I would do though, like, I would say to them, let's say they gave us a really good option to remove a bus. Let's say they say we can save 30 grand. I would say to them, okay, that, whatever you came up with, that's the number, fixed fee it for the year, put your money where your mouth is. So then they can't have any wiggle room.
Well,
I didn't force them to do it. So when they come back with their options, you say, oh, that's the option, that was cheaper, good. You guarantee it, and then they're guaranteed. So we get rid of the whole hourage thing. So let's say they remove a bus and all of a sudden the hours go way up. Well, you guaranteed the number now.
Well, I think that's the issue. The hours are in the contract. so
No, but
you
we
can't
tell them, no, but we can change the contract.
well,
I can say to the guy, you just gave me a route, you guarantee it, and that's the fixed fee. We're paying that all year, right up the contract, then I'm done with this hour thing all day.
I think that's two different things, though. What I want is,
No, not really.
yeah, what I'd like to
But
explain.
even if they gave you an option, like, let's say the option's better.
Can I
remove a
explain what
bus.
I want to do first, John? Because I didn't
There's only two
explain it.
options.
I would like to
The same
have,
as today, or the same as, remove a bus. It's not that difficult to
no,
understand.
I'd like to finish the sentence. I'd like them to give us two options. One, to use the current number of buses that they're using today, and the second option, to use one less in the fleet. However, when they do the routes with the current number of buses that we currently have, I want them to carefully review the routes, consolidating, evening out and balancing the number of riders on each bus. I don't want to be stuck with longer routes and there's still an imbalance. And when we had the meeting with DATCO upstairs in the conference room, when Mr. Repko and I gave examples of how those route times could be shortened, many of them, the response from the people at the table were, well, we could do that, but we can't really do that now at this point in the year because the parents would be upset. I'm a big believer that it would be easily possible to reconfigure those routes with the same number of buses and bring the extra hours down to 0. So that's what I would like them to target, because some of our buses run under the hours required and others go much, much over. So just tweaking a few things that were discussed at that meeting, the lag time, getting the buses to the high school too early, the lag time between leaving the high school to begin the elementary route, those types of adjustments can save a lot of money. And so I'd like them to, my goal would be, yeah, we're going to use the same number of buses, we're not going to have any extra hours, and the routes are going to be even, and we're not making anybody's ride longer.
Yeah, but
And if you
whatever they come
eliminate
up
a
with, I would
bus,
say
the rides are going
guarantee
to
it.
be longer.
Whatever they come up with, I say guarantee it. Because that way they don't have to worry about the hours anymore. So I'd say to the guy, you believe that's the bus route for next year? Then guarantee it.
Well, we can ask that at the time, but I think what Mike's asking is
Yes.
just what's proposed to us by our own
Yeah.
group.
And I have to say, I'm concerned if we eliminate a bus. No, I'm sorry, may I speak? Sure. I know 2 buses that are packed, 3 kids to a seat, and it's way too much when you get to middle school and high school sizes. And if we eliminate a bus, what's that gonna do? So, that's a big concern of mine. I don't like having 3 to a seat. I don't think that should be allowed.
Well, I don't see any issues with having, like, as Mike proposed, the 2 solutions and then.
Right,
look at
that's
it.
what I prefer to see what Mike proposed to get that, because eliminating the bus unless they really look at, you're gonna have buses overlap on the same routes to pick up
It's
excess
just asking
kids.
them for options, it's not making any decisions, so I don't.
I'll make it as a motion.
But they've got to do it quickly. They've got to have it in the next
Yes.
meeting.
I make a motion that we direct the transportation director and DATCO to provide us with 2 options for routes. One option using the current number of buses, equalizing the length of the routes and the number of riders. And the second option to use 1 less bus in the fleet.
Is there a
Second.
second? Pardon? Is there any discussion?
I want to ask something.
I think that's my,
Can we also just put in there with the possibility of guaranteed routes or some comment like that?
It is a different thing, and I'll go with that, but I think they have to do this.
No, I'm agreeing with it.
Let's
Yeah.
agree on the routes.
I'm just saying,
Yeah.
okay, we get 2 different numbers, and then let us know if there's a possibility of guaranteeing those hours.
Yeah,
That's all.
once we get it.
Yeah, I
Right,
think that's a
I'm
good
not opposed
idea.
to doing
Well,
that at
it's
that
like a
point.
3rd option or a
I think
3rd,
it's a good
4th
idea.
option, whatever it is.
At
so
that
we're gonna
point.
evaluate the routes, is that what we're gonna do?
We're not.
No, they're going to show us the routes.
The numbers, okay.
Is there a second? Who seconded my motion? All right, okay.
Is there any other discussion?
Well, would you take that, just that friendly amendment to add?
I'd rather, I think it's a separate issue altogether. You've got to do it once you know what the numbers are. I don't want to tell them now, oh, we're going to agree to whatever number you come up with. I think I'll do it, Jim, and I'm going to support what you're saying, but I think we need to wait until they develop the routes and see what that number is.
I'm just saying, while they're doing it, just put it in. I want to see your numbers in,
Flat
any additional
Flat
cost
rate.
for flat fee.
Well, the
If
second
you want
one,
to do it later, that's fine.
I'd rather do it later, because the other part is, the consultant that Ben is working with is going to have some suggestions and recommendations, and I don't want to tie us down to anything until we get his report.
Are you in touch with that consultant?
I met with Ben in the office when he spoke to the consultant, but I haven't spoken with him since they started the analysis, but I know what the objectives are that they're doing.
When, do you know when the report's going to come out?
Middle of July.
In a couple of weeks.
Jim, I'm wondering, I like your idea, but I'm wondering if we put that up now, would it tweak their numbers? You know what I mean, if they knew that they were locked in?
I'm okay. We're all going in the same direction.
Yeah.
Okay, is there any other discussion? Mr. Bassett? Vote.
Yes.
Mrs. Gillette?
Yes.
Mr. Clifford?
Yes.
Mr. Canal?
No.
Mr. Raymond?
No.
Mr. Lombardi?
Yes.
Mrs. Nato, yes. Motion passes 5-2. We have no more items on the agenda. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion adjourned.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? So moved.